I mean, the boss is on.
Is Brother Harris on the line?
Of course he's on the line.
Slammer. What's up, Slammer?
Oh, shucks now. Not all on time and tipper. Oh Lord.
Slammer has arrived.
Oh Lord. I'm trying to behave tonight.
The Alabama Slammer is here.
Brother Hamp and Everett. Brother Hamp and Everett.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Brother Everett, I heard you when you came in. You missed the meeting tonight. And if I were you guys, just a humble suggestion, stop the recording and start it over again and come in with your intro, because a lot of people were talking. So when you put that on the YouTube, then you want to start out, and then everybody starts talking after you name your show like you guys normally do. Thank you.
You got that, Everett? What's that?
Huh?
Did you hear what Forrest said? He said to stop the recording and start it over because everybody was talking before the intro.
Okay. My bad.
All right, we'd like to thank everybody for joining in to this week's Grown Folks Talking. CCC, this is Wednesday night. We normally get started around 8:30. We're just a tad bit behind, but there's no need to fret because we're going to catch up. Tonight, we're going to have a dynamic speaker. I said I wasn't going to do a long introduction, so I'm going to cut it off there. Brother Harris, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a blessed and prosperous Wednesday. Tonight, the topic is going to be, I just drew a blank. Which will hurt more? Knowing that you're not loved by your significant other, or losing the time that you spent with the person that you thought that loved you?
Well, I have to ponder about that.
Did I lose anybody?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's deep.
I mean, I apologize. I just need feedback.
Which would hurt more? Losing the love of a significant other. And what's the other half?
Losing the time that you were spending with the person that don't love you.
I hate to sound hard, but neither one of them will bother me because I'm usually the one breaking things off. I was told my standards are too high.
Hello. Now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a sensitive, caring person, but I can honestly, when I think about it, say that I have not been in a situation where I cared about somebody so much that it would hurt me really bad if I lost them. Unless I lost them by death, that would be different.
Well, And that's what I was about to do. What do you mean when you say lost them? Broke
if
up?
you lose them, when you break up with them, or if they move to, if y'all are not in a same city situation. Y'all, one is in L.A., the other one is in Vancouver, Canada. Now, I know that it will hurt if you lose them by death, but this is a relationship question, and I know most people, death is the final thing.
Okay, this is Adrian again. I think it would bother me less. I mean, it would bother me less if I lose a person by death, because I know because I was a crisis person for so long, death doesn't affect me like they do normal people. I'm like, okay, they're gone. I can't do nothing about it. It's not because of something I've done, unless I was the one that killed them, but I don't think that'll happen. And that's something that's out of my control, and I can't blame myself for it. So I think that would bother me the least.
Well, I think I would probably be upset if I spent time with the one that finding out after we've been together for a minute that don't love me. Because I would feel like I did all the right things with the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make me angry.
Okay, this is a Yanni. I've been pondering that since it came out of Harris's mouth. Ooh, I must just be an odd bird because I've been there. I've done that. And yes, I was angry for a time that I spent so much time and energy on this person. But what I ultimately realized is that what I went through with them shaped me and prepared me for something else.
Right.
I won't elaborate too much on that because it's going to be in the book, and I expect y'all to buy the book. But at this point, I'm not angry anymore. I don't even lament the time that I lost because it helped me become the person that I am today. Anyway, that's my truth.
Hi, this is Angela. I can kind of agree with that. At the time that I was going through the situation and right after, I was angry about how it ended, why there wasn't quote-unquote closure. But then it became my lesson. And in that lesson, I learned what I wanted, what I didn't want, what I deserved, and what I didn't deserve. So it made me a better person. So thinking back on it now, I no longer get angry about the time I spent or the person that I was with because I understand now it was greater later.
I was mad because she took the dog.
You're mad because she took the what?
Because she took the dog.
Mm. She took the dog. I'm sorry. was funny to me.
Hey, brother Harris, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been moving and grooving, man, trying to take care of some things and listen to you. But could you repeat the question? Because I think a lot of that you said in the first, I can elaborate on.
So, what would hurt more?
Huh?
I said, what would hurt more? Losing the person that you love, or losing the time that you spent with the person that don't love you?
Well, I can't really say that I had a person that I'd been with that didn't love me. Well, I could say that my first wife, Lord rest her soul, she passed away about 4 months ago. But I think in the end, because some of the things that I used to do, I don't think she really loved me. And then I had tried to talk to her a few years back after my second wife had passed, and she was saying that I don't hate you, I don't really like you a lot. So you still mourning the death of your wife, which was maybe true and not true. But to say, now I have lost the love of my life, but almost 6 years ago. And that hurt because I know she loved me. I mean, we had our little moment, but I know she loved me and she knew I loved her. That one hit hard because of the stuff we had went through when we got married. Before we had been like excuse me, in a long distance relationship even after we got married. But I mean, if the person that didn't love you and they just left, you're probably better off. I mean, cut your losses. But to lose that person that truly loved you or you truly love, that's a different story. But like a person, let's say they deal with crises, I deal with crisis well because first time I went to war and just being in that army for that long made me hard. Not meaning I'm crass and don't have feeling, but I learned to deal with adversity a little bit better. And that's what I'll leave it at that for right now.
Well, the reason why I brought up the topic tonight, I recently got moved to another unit in the military, and I had a heart-to-heart with a soldier, and she told me about her love life, and I was kind of nervous because dealing with a female soldier is kind of hard because you don't know how it's going to go. So she told me about she been in love with this dude, and they made plans to be together forever. And then he just up one day and told her, I never loved you, never wanted to be with you. You were just something to pass the time. Now, she said she felt hurt both ways because she lost the person that she loved. And then she lost 1477. She lost the time that she can't get back. So I just needed to know, what what would hurt more? Because now she says she's numb to everything.
Hey, Brother Harris, just for a second, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I hear a bunch of background noise. I don't know who it is, but they need to go ahead and put their phone on mute. If you're not actively involved in the conversation, please put your phone on mute until you're ready to speak. We want to do the hard mute on y'all, so just go ahead and mute your phone, please. And there's a lot of background noise, and it is quite distracting. All right, go ahead, brother.
So, like I said, I didn't know what to tell us. I said I had to get back with you on this. So that's why I brought it to some seasoned people in relationships, because the only thing that I could say was you can't be numb. You got to feel something. So was I wrong? Please help me out.
Well, what I would say to her is just remind her that life goes on. If something is meant to be, it'll be, And if it's sometimes, especially women, they get in their mind that this is a lifetime and this is going away. And he's saying he never felt that way, So that would tell me this was all on me. And so I imagine this long, wonderful relationship going on, and it just wasn't so. So it might sound harsh, but that's the type of counselor I've always been, dealing with realism. And the reality is that it just was never about her with him. So, pick up. Like used to say, they used to say, I didn't use this. Pick up your big girl panties and keep it moving. Something greater is beyond the horizon.
And I can agree with some of that, but nobody likes to have the feeling of being played.
I agree. I didn't say it'd be fun.
Because, and don't get me wrong, some people get downright violent behind having been played, to the point to where they want to take your life. All of that, I love you to death. Yeah.
And they mean
Some
that.
people really mean that. Yeah, they mean that.
If somebody said that to me, I'd be, I'm out of here.
Yeah. But I guess that would be one of the biggest things that I would be looking at as far as losing the time, because that's something you can't get back. You can make memories and all of that with someone else and go on to have the time of your life, but you can't get the time back that you lost loving the wrong person and that person not loving you and the time that you spent with them. You can't get that back.
Yeah,
and I can agree with that. But, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say you won't get the prison time back if you go at it the wrong way.
That is true too. I understand you're losing time, and the time is precious and it can't be regained. But to sit there and ruminate on what happened and what did I do wrong, or what went wrong in the whole situation, you're still giving that person your time.
Right.
So I would suggest, my suggestion, validate her feelings, because it is human nature to feel hurt when you've been quote unquote played. But it's also a time to reflect on, was the communication right? Every time I told him I loved him, did he tell me the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we make up relationships in our head.
That's what I was saying.
And we don't look at the red flag, the purple flag, the green. We don't look at none of the flags.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want that relationship. And so I would suggest that she take some time, not a long time, but take us some time to reflect on, were there signs that I just looked over? Not to say it's blaming her, because she's not necessarily to blame for that. But she needs to learn from this. This should definitely be a learning opportunity, so that the next time when she's talking to somebody and she feeling them and she don't know what their mind is, look, this is where I'm going with it now.
Tread lightly. Yeah.
And understand that at the end of the day, it's a choice. He has a choice. She has a choice. If she chooses to stay and not have a conversation about where this is going or what have you, then she has to suffer the consequences of that choice of not communicating her feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say continue to waste time on a person that has already made a choice. You wasted my time already. I'm not going to waste any more.
I can piggyback that a little bit, what Angela said, from a slightly different viewpoint. I do not know this young lady's character, but I would tell her that should this gentleman, and I'm being kind when I say that, decide he made a mistake and try to come back, look the other way. Because, and y'all know me, I'm a holy roller. I heard a sermon the other day where the minister was saying that when God takes people out of our lives and they come back, we sometimes welcome them back with open arms. Maybe not in the same capacity that they were there, but we try to repurpose people. Like, oh, well, he's a nice person. Maybe we can be friends, or some other thing that she may think. Just tell her to take the lesson, even though it was a hard lesson, and move on, because regardless of whether something is positive or negative that happens to us, there's always a lesson there. There's always something to be learned.
I agree.
It may not be something we want to learn, but don't overlook the blessing of the lesson. So, anyway.
Absolutely right.
And I think, I can say truly, if I'm having an issue with a soldier, I know on Wednesday night when it's my turn, I can bring it to the council, and the council will have me ready to knock down the wall to tell that soldier what needs to go on with them, or give them some wholesome advice.
That's good. Now you go do that thing.
We got to look out for each other.
And and I'm really worried about the soldier, because when she said she felt numb, it brought me to another topic that I hope that I can get some light shedded on about our community. Is mental health really taken seriously in our community?
Being a mental health worker for 30 years, I'd say yes and no. Because some people, I mean, with the professionals, of course, yes, and they'll do an evaluation and everything. But some people, even some professionals, told me that my clients were faking. And I don't know how they came to that conclusion. I can't understand how someone can attempt suicide on themselves. You know, God doesn't make us able to hurt ourselves. I mean, that's our natural focus is to stay alive. And when somebody does something like slits their wrist all the way almost up to their elbow, you know, and they rush them to the hospital, you know how hard that is? I used to tell people, don't try it, but just take my word for it. That's hard to hurt yourself in that way. You know, putting a gun to your head and pulling the trigger, your body does not naturally let you do that. There's going to be something in your brain that say, what you doing, man? Put it down, you know. So when I look at when I have clients that attempted suicide and how they did it, I'm like, you really want to sit there and say it's fake? You know, they just looking for attention. There's a difference between someone looking for attention and someone trying to hurt themselves physically based on an emotional hurt that they're having.
2 p.m. Status bar item.
I can definitely agree with that. I'm still learning. But mental health, in my opinion, short answer is no. It has not been taken seriously in our community for a very long time. However, I think it is becoming more understandable, more recognizable as the generations evolve, because mental health has just become, it's a realization of what that is. Because for a lot of my generation and above, you know, it was, you don't tell your story, you don't tell your problems to a man, you tell them to the Lord, and he gonna help you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we were raised. And so now my generation is starting to understand that I love God. I love God. My opinion for me. However, I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody that I could go to and say, here's all my stuff. Now help me sort this out. And so the stigma is not as hard as it used to be. And I think the other thing that helps our community is seeing more like us as the counselors, as the people that they talk to. That's why I'm such a big advocate of having more and more minority counselors and psychologists, because the more you see people like you, there are certain things I don't have to explain to my counselor because she understands. As another black woman, she understands. So it's something about that. Having another African American man to talk to another African American man, and they can connect on a level that no one else can connect with this man on, and learn how to open up and talk to and have real dialogue with, and understand that there's nothing wrong with saying, when someone asks you, how you feeling? And you say, I'm not good. It's nothing wrong for me to call my friend and say, how are you doing today mentally? And being honest and say, you know what, mentally, I'm just not making it today. And so once we get into the idea of mental health is part of our self-care, I think it will be more and more important and it's becoming more and more important to our community. That's my soapbox. I'm passionate about mental health. Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna, if I can, I'm gonna speak on Brother Harris's defense as his position in the military. He's a first line leader, so soldiers usually come to him with their issues before they go to anyone else. But being in that position, you are a counselor, you're a pastor, you're a mother, you're a father, you're everything you're all that soldier has at that particular time. And some of them will open up to you if they have mental issues. Others will not, due to the fact that a lot of it, like I say, when, in my era, my generation, I hear Angela say her generation, and I don't know the gap between your generation and my generation. But my generation,
it ain't much.
I hear you. That's quite a bit. I'm sure it's probably 15, 20 years in there. But anyway, so there's a big gap between you and I. But anyway, in my day, you didn't openly say, I got mental issue. And I just happened to be in the pharmacy last week. And that pharmacy, it's a wait. It's a day experience out there at the hospital on the base. And you're going to be sitting in there for at least a couple of hours. So you get to see everything, and not being a nosy person, you hear everything because people are loud. And I just happened to hear a conversation between a young soldier who was picking up medicine, had the same MOS as pretty much in the same field as the soldier that was issuing the medicine. They were talking about, hey, you in this unit, blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, I don't really like the Army. But you're in it, you have no choice but to fulfill your obligation. And, me, being a smart, I didn't say anything, but all I wanted to say is, I bet you like that paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. And I'm saying, but when you're in a position and you don't like it, you're not going to do your best. And then just to go back to your question, Brother Harris, is mental health important in our community? I would say today it is more than it was, I would say, back in the day, 15, 20 years, because a lot of things are happening, and a lot of it is due to mental stress. So that's my 2 cents worth. I'm up to 4 cents now. So, yeah, but different people are going to react in different ways. And even when Angela, you say you'll call, there's nothing wrong with calling a person saying, how are you mentally today? Some people may take that and be able to answer you honestly. And some people might say, why are you asking me this type of question? I mean, it's going to work different ways for different people. But you are absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong with calling and asking a person that, because a lot of people have stuff on their mind. If someone doesn't interact, you may have prevented that person from doing something, crazy, or made their day better and not as stressful as it could have been, because they may have something heavy on their heart and their mind. All right, brother. I'm muting myself. Binding myself.
I mean, I thank you, Brother Everett, but it's as being all of that to not just one, but many soldiers, it plays a heavy toll on me, not just physically, but mentally. How can I help this soldier? Because you want the best for that person, regardless of how they work. You don't want nobody to be like, oh, well, don't nobody care about me. And when she said she felt numb, that's what the senses I got. she's like, yeah, don't nobody care about me. And in hindsight, and I'm like, well, you're being numb is, like I told her, I said, it's okay. It's okay to be numb for a little while, to collect yourself. But, I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to have to revisit this subject with you a little bit later because I'm at a loss for words. Because I didn't know how straightforward I needed to be with her, or did she need that, okay, look, you just need somebody to put their arms around you for right now till you get back on your feet. The extra helping hand, as I call it. And also being in a male position, you don't know if she's going to take that as, well, he's trying to get with me, because you don't know I didn't know where her mental state would have been. So that's why I told her, let me do some thinking, let me talk to some people. And eventually I told her to, go see her spiritual advisor that whoever she prayed to, or whoever she, get the heavens or wherever she go to get her spiritual fulfillment. So that's why I was like, is mental health really being taken serious now by us? Well, in our community.
I would say, and this is to kind of bring both topics together, if you look on TikTok, Facebook, or any other of these social media sites, you will always be able to find some sort of sad story about a couple, regardless of whether it be young or old, breaking up and somebody killing that person and then themselves. So I would say that it's being discussed. People are aware, but I still feel that a lot of it is not taken as seriously as it needs to be. Because it was stated that, it takes a lot to hurt yourself. It actually takes a lot to hurt somebody else, especially to unalive them. Knowingly doing that, and this is what's going to happen. You can't be right mentally if that's where your mind is at. And there had to have been red flags before then. So I believe there's an acute awareness of mental health. I believe that it is being discussed more frequently now than ever before. I just don't feel like we're there as far as finding the antidote to use to stop, deter, or even eliminate the things that go on in people's head, especially young people today. Because you don't know what triggers them anymore. They might walk in the house and there's no more milk. That set them off. Had a bad day at school. Got a D on their report card. That might set them off. The biggest thing is kids being bullied in school. You have no idea what type of mental problems that creates, especially long term. Because with that, that's where a lot of these people come up, mass shootings and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you really don't know what that person's mental status is. And a lot of times you're looking at them like, oh, well, you know, he'll be all right. Well, we'll just send him down there to the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in my opinion, we're unequipped to handle anything like that. So you don't know. So how do you know? How do you find out? If you're a person and you're a counselor, how do you find out where this person's mental status is without aggravating this individual, without setting them off?
Well,
because that's where we're at. Because this is the stage that's not happening.
Well, in my training, it's all in how the question is asked. You know, you don't sit them down and say, what's wrong? Ain't nothing wrong. And sometimes that question is the aggravation in itself because the person thinks you're just automatically assuming the answer already. You know what I'm saying? And there's a way you can walk, what we used to call walk into the question. You know, how you doing today? You know, you got into an argument with your higher up. You got into a problem with your, you know, and you name the things that cause people to have concern. This is a person that's not usually argumentative, and all of a sudden you having these arguments and these blowouts with people, and you describe the behaviors and say, so it seems like something might be bothering you. You know, it's all in how you put things to people. You know, you don't put it, the best counselors that I've seen are the ones that know how to come from around the corner and walk into it, as opposed to being straightforward. Because we do have counselors that I like just be straightforward. Man, you've been acting out. What's going on? There's something wrong. Okay, that comes across accusatory to somebody who's already at the end of his line, as you're describing it, his or her line. So it's all in how you come at people, you know. And my experience, which is not a lot of experience, people who are in the armed forces, they believe in confrontation as opposed to conversation, you know. And they come at them in a more aggressive way and wonder why did he go off on me or she go off on me? I just said to her, look, I know you've been doing so-and-so. Why? You know, I ain't been doing nothing. Prove it, you know. But it's how you approach people. You have to approach people with compassion and concern. And, you know, no matter what the situation is, you know, direct confrontation is never going to get you a positive result. That's what I've learned in my experience.
Well, being that I am still in the armed forces, learning new tactics to try to get answers out of soldiers is a positive and a negative. The positive is you'll get the answer that you want, but the negative, you might not like how it come across.
Right.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I don't believe in confrontation unless I'm protecting myself. These soldiers now, they just want to be left alone. They just want to do they claim they want to do their job and go home. They don't like being confrontational, but when they feel like that NCO has said something to them 2 days in a row, that's what triggered them to go to behavioral health. I had a soldier, literally 2 days I talked to him. I corrected him on some stuff that he did wrong. The third day, and I only been in the unit a week. The first sergeant had me in his office asking me why this soldier at behavioral health, and he named me as his stressor. I'm always riding him about stuff that he's doing wrong. And I explained, I was like, well, if he's going to mental health because I corrected him, how many people haven't corrected him and let him get away with it? And how is it that all the other people that was there before me, he didn't say nothing to them? He didn't flash out on them. He didn't run to behavioral health behind them. But when I come in and I tell him certain things, I'm the reason why. So I that's why, like, a lot of things, that's why I say mental health is real big. It needs to be shed more light on in our community, because the counselor came and talked to me, was like, hey, are you treating this soldier like they your son? Are they your children? Are you telling them that, they supposed to do the right thing at all times? I said, that's the standard of the military. You do right all the time, no matter who's looking or not. So I got moved to another section in the squad, and as of now, I cannot have no conversation with the soldier. If I'm in a room and he comes in, I'm supposed to leave, but I literally told him, I said, well, I'm not going to stop doing my job because they walk in the room. Mm-hmm. I said, now you're crippling me.
Right.
I said, then I said, so if I come to y'all and do the same thing, then what y'all going to do to him? Oh, well, then now you're going tit for tat. I said, can you prove it? So, I mean, my whole thought process is something in his past that maybe it was a older brother, I'll say a male figure in his life held him to a standard and he couldn't handle it. And when I brought a new standard I brought him to a new standard, he didn't want to abide by it. He know if he run to mental health, and I'm not saying that he might not be having an episode or whatever, but it's just strange. After 3 days, you can't. And I always tell soldiers, and I learned this from Brother Everett, be able to be approachable. Mm-hmm. I told him the first day I got there, hey, if it's something that you need to talk to me about, hey, all you got to do is pull me to the side. We can talk about it. We can fix the situation and drive on. So, like I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to need the mental health experts' help on this one. because I don't know what is the best approach about it.
You ever heard of the? I'm trying to remember the correct way they call that concept, the sandwich concept. When you have to talk to somebody about a problem or something negative, you start with something positive. And
I've heard of it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I never had to use it, but I'll take this approach now.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't work on everybody, but sometimes it works because people, I'm going to say we, because I'm a people, tend to like to hear the good things. You know, you do real well when you're so-and-so, and that's what sticks in their head. And then you say, but when you're working with so-and-so, you know, you tend to get very agitated. And then you close with something else positive, you know. But I like the way, you know, when redirected, you're able to redirect yourself, and that's good, you know. And in their brain, they hear the two good parts and then have to think about, okay, what did you say in the middle? You know, because it gets them thinking. You know, that's what the psychiatrists say, you know. But I've used that a lot when people are agitated. And it helps. You start with something good because it throws them off. You know, I just cursed this so-and-so out, and she's saying something. And she's remembering something good I did. You know, so it kind of throws people off their mark because they expect you to come at them, you know. Like I did something wrong because you did do something wrong. But now we're in a point where we can maybe talk about it. But like I said, I never worked in a military, you know, area, and there could be something, like you said, something else going on with his history. Anybody else got something to say?
Oh, I ain't mean to bore everybody to sleep. You know, I thought
No, you haven't done that. I'm just sitting there soaking it all in. I was just listening to what you had said about the young guy. If your job is to make on-the-spot correction, and what really bugs me is I sit in that first sergeant position. For those of you not familiar with the military, the first sergeant, he's probably there's 9 enlisted ranks that you can achieve, and the first sergeant is number 8 out of the 9. So I sit in that position for 5 years, 3 years or 2 years overseas, and a total of 5 years, 3 overseas and a couple here. And that just lets me know how the military has changed, because you're correcting a soldier, and your advisor, your leader of your organization seemed like he was taking the side of the soldiers when he should have been backing you, because
Right.
you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And like I said, we're dealing with a new generation of kids who think they're entitled to this. They're not used to being disciplined, probably not even used to having their parents tell them what to do at home. And my other question was, the soldier that in question, was he a black or white?
he was a black soldier.
I was going to guess black.
Okay, but like I said, I see, and I can see that. And Like so you got to think a lot. I'm not trying to stereotype or speak for everyone, but we deal with a lot of kids that, especially young melanated kids, come from single parent households, and a lot of them don't know why they really join the military. I mean, it's a paycheck, but that's not why you join. And once they get there, it's a lot of people just not used to taking orders or having that authoritative figure over them.
I agree.
They feel like that. Like if you had to come back twice for something he did wrong, I mean, somebody else should have been all over that and saying, hey, dude, you need to know what that is. But tighten up your shot group and do the right thing, because that's what you are here for, is to follow instructions and take guidance from the person appointed over you as your first line supervisor or whatever.
I find that a lot of young people these days, and even some of the young people that I work with, they talking about they're going into the service. And I was like, you don't know the difference between your opinion and authority figure, because you've never been introduced to any authority figure, you know, raised by a single parent who is, I would say sometimes, more afraid of them than, you know, somebody to discipline them. And then their parent, that's what their punishment is we're going to send you into the Army. The Army don't want them. You raised them. Now you want the Army to fix them.
I mean, that that has been true. That is true, because when I was in my last unit before I got in this one, I had a soldier to tell me, you know, he was going down the wrong path, and a judge told him either go to the Army or go to jail. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
I've seen that happen.
I'm like, that's the word. You only giving them the option to go join the military. Now, I'm not saying the military is not a great option, but who's to say when they get in the military, they don't do the same thing they were doing on the street and end up in jail? Sometimes you gotta put them where they're supposed to be.
Right.
Because this soldier literally, now I can say this soldier changed his life. From the time he got in to the time I met him, you know, he carried around his rap sheet, what he was being accused for. And I'll say this, it wasn't a one pager. He had a whole book behind him. And I told him, I was like, so the judge gave you a choice, and you made good on your promise. I said, but it's also the other side of the coin. What if you came in here and you created more hell than you did on the outside? Only thing you doing now is going to a military prison. He's like, well, yeah, you right. But like I said, it's, as an NCO, we get more scrutinized now than anything up under the sun. Because all a soldier has to do is say, sergeant said, staff sergeant said, some first class said this, and it offended me. Now we have to go stand on the carpet, on the red carpet as I call it, and try to explain why this soldier said this about you. And now I ain't gonna say every NCO is correct, but 85% of the time, that NCO is correct. His or her approach might be wrong, but they're correct. They're correcting the situation. And then now that NCO can't stand, well, I ain't going to say can't stand, has hard feelings for this soldier. And God forbid they get sent down range together. Or they have to work in close proximity of each other. Now, now is a double-edged sword because the NCO gonna feel like they can't correct the soldier, and the soldier gonna feel that the NCO is going to find every little thing that's wrong and try to make an example out of it. Now, I mean, the first one, tell me how to deal with something like that, because in another platoon I had somebody to ask me that question.
That's a tough spot to be in. You know, I've heard lots of situations in the military, you know, of the higher ranking officers have to deal with these lower ranking officers. And those type of personalities, that's what they do. They come in and size you up. And they're usually very bright people, you know, where they can figure things out. And they need to be in school going for psychology or something, because they probably do better on a positive level than their negative behavior. But unfortunately, they choose to follow the negative behavior and use their smarts to get over and get in trouble and get out of trouble. Sorry, I'm looking for something. So, all I can do is wish you the best in the service. And dealing with these characters, because that's what it is. It's the person's character that you're dealing with. Okay, what did I do with it? So I hope you got some kind of answer out of this conversation.
Oh, I out of this whole conversation tonight, I can't say nothing negative, because every time I bring a topic to the Council of Intelligent People, I go back and I break it down to the point where, hey, you know, as we say in the Army world, Barney style, to where the person that I'm talking to, they don't get offended behind what I'm saying, and they can understand where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm. And that's the key.
Because a couple of topics that I had on about one of my soldiers marrying another one of my soldiers, I went back to them, talked to them, and they literally told me, hey, Sergeant, you are the only person that has not said anything negative about our marriage, haven't tried to stop us from getting married. You encouraged us to do things together to make sure that we get things done in a timely manner. So if anything do come back, it'll be sent right back up within 72 hours. I have had people come up to me and tell me, oh, well, you know, y'all are wrong for trying to get married now. And you still married to this other guy. So that is a whole issue. So, you know, that's why my mental sanity comes on Wednesday night when I tune into the podcast. Because I get information, I get other ways to address a situation, or if anything comes up in my life about the same way the topic did, I can use what was stated. Not all of it, because not all of it might not be meant for me to have. I just take the bits and pieces I need.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something personal. I was a mental health counselor for a long time, over 10 years. And I worked in a mental health hospital, and I worked with children, runaways, in another type of facility for children, but it's still mental health. I'm dropping stuff. And when I lost my sight, they thought it was best that I was no longer in that environment because it was no longer safe, you know, because I admitted that the thing that I felt that kept me safe in my job was that we had clients that would just go off, especially the younger ones. They would just go off. And they asked me, you know, what do you think kept you safe in all these years? Is that I watched them, you know. I watched their eyes. I watched their facial expressions. When they change, facial expressions, you know, because and then when my vision left, that took that away from me. And so they asked me the question, do you feel safe in your position? And I said no, because I no longer had that capacity, where there were 26 counselors, and every single one of the counselors at one time in their tenure have gotten hurt by a client, have been attacked by a client, and I never did. And that's what my answer was when they asked me, you know, what do you think you're doing that they're not doing? I watch people. I watch their body language. I watch their facial expressions. I watch their agitation. And when they're getting agitated, I get out of the way. But I no longer had the capacity, being blind, to watch all the body language and everything. So when they asked me if I still felt safe, I said no. You know, as a matter of fact, I came in for that reason. I was like, I no longer feel safe in my job, you know, because I don't have those abilities. So they offered me a transfer. But at the same time that they offered me a transfer, I didn't like the transfer. How are you going to move me from being a counselor, a one-on-one counselor? Well, I did groups every once in a while, to basically being a receptionist at the hospital. And I'm like, no. But God is good. I didn't get a chance to tell them no. I told them, can I think about it for a week? And they gave me a week off to think about it. And during that week off, somebody else who I've been volunteering with their agency, a family counseling agency. She said, "You want to come work for me? I'm ready to retire." She said, "But I'll take, because you're blind, I'll continue to do all the paperwork and everything, the administrative stuff, and you just work with the clients." So, God was good, and I jumped right into that job. So, I love what I do. And then when it got to the point where she had to retire, then I had to find something else to do. But I'm saying that to say this. This experience tonight has awoken something in me that I haven't done in a long time. So I appreciate you allowing me to help you with your situation. Because I really miss it.
I thank you for helping me because, like, as a male, it's kind of hard for us to be able to deal with certain situations with females. We can give them a male perspective, but we can't give them a female guidance unless we talk to some females that have been down that road. Well, let me rephrase that. Some women that have been down that road or that have counseling background, because I can't just go out there and find a woman on the street and be like, "Hey, can you give me some advice about this?"
Why not?
And I go back and give to the soldier, and now I'm back on the red carpet. I'm the star of the program now.
Yeah.
So it's very informational because I've learned a lot, and I've learned techniques now how to deal with that soldier, male or female, to either get them to open up or get them to the correct person that they can open up to, because it might not be me that they feel like they can't open up to.
Right. It might be just because you're a male.
And I'm fine with that because I can't save every soldier because I wouldn't know how to talk to every soldier. And I've learned through my career, if you know your soldiers, you know what makes them tick.
Right.
And how to get them to talk to you about everything that they're going through. Like about 2 weeks ago, a soldier of mine was having pay issues. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, what's going on with your money?" "Oh, I'm good. But then, not even 30 minutes after I'm good, I had to go upstairs and explain why the soldier can't pay his bills. And they asking me why am I letting this soldier try to get a payday loan? And I'm like, I didn't know he was doing that. I didn't tell him to go out there and do that. I said
he was good 2 minutes ago in front of me.
Exactly. I said I got 4 people that was out there when he said he was good. I pulled him to the side. I ain't even embarrassed. Pulled him to the side. "Hey man, you good on money?" He wanted to get loud. "Yeah, I'm good. I don't need nobody help." But now I'm standing at your desk like, he said it. So the issue came about. Now we have to check these soldiers' bank statements to make sure they got enough money to eat with. And I made the statement they can eat at the DFAC. They already taking their money anyway, so why they don't eat it? Why would I give somebody else my money if I'm already paying somebody else? Might not be that good, but the more I get there, hey, the better it'll taste sooner than later.
It ain't got to be good to be free.
Technically, it ain't free. Soldiers pay $100-some a month. You get 3 hots and a cot, and 2 on the week.
Right.
Yeah, 2 on the weekend. So, and then what I try to explain to everybody, all these soldiers, is you can go to the DFAC and get you a good meal. Oh, they don't give me enough. Go get another plate. I don't feel like going. Well, you ain't that hungry then.
Well, you ain't that right. Wow.
But I do understand where these soldiers be coming from, because just like we have issues on our job, the people that cook, they have issues on their job, and they don't be wanting to cook every day. So I do understand that one.
Oh, excuse me. Well, I don't know about everybody else, but I enjoyed your topic today.
Thank you, ma'am. That means so much.
Okay, so understand when I send you my bill.
I'm gonna write it to Uncle Sam so he can go ahead and go ahead and hire you on Fort Johnson, or or you can work in Shreveport, on the Air Force base.
I would love to work on the Air Force base. I have applied several times for the armed forces to work for them, and they came back with, because I have applied after I lost my sight, where they do hire the blind, but they say it was something that I don't have. No, they said I need to be fluent in Braille. And most people who learn Braille nowadays are young people. The school children who are blind, they learn that before they learn to write. They learn Braille. And they don't teach adult Braille anymore because most places don't use Braille anymore. Computers are the thing. All kinds of technology are used. And even the lady who I did the interview with, and they went all the way up to the point of me packing ready to go. I have to go to some base in Arkansas for training, and they had me packed, and they said they'll have a flight ready for me at the end of the week, and I was ready. Wednesday, I was ready, and the lady called and said, Miss Cantine, how fluent are you in Braille? That's when they asked me that. I said, I'm not. I know beginner's Braille, and I can read, slow, like 25 words a minute in Braille, but that's about it. I can write Braille. I know I'm well at writing Braille. He goes, oh, you have to be able to read Braille at 65 words a minute. I said, I'm nowhere near that, to be honest. She said, okay, well, they overlooked that. They just sent me an email today saying, with this lady that's coming on, how fluent is she in Braille? And she said, the government hasn't caught up to everybody else yet. In the schools and everybody, it's like 12, 15 words, which is where I am, in like the beginning of Braille, because they don't use Braille too much anymore. In the armed service, they use computers and everything. But but that's what they're using to turn you down, that you're not proficient in Braille. I was so upset. I was ready to go wherever I had to go. You know, I had to go to Arkansas for training, but wherever they chose to send me, that's where I was going to go. So they didn't send me to Louisiana.
You said that like that's a bad thing.
No, it's bad for y'all. I would love to have been down there with y'all. I was going to say, hey, I know them. No, I wouldn't know them. I just started with Forrest and them 3 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm still coming down to visit.
Well, Lord say the same. We'll all still be here. Well, I'm looking at the time, and I have 9:57.
Okay.
So, with that being said, Mr. Harris, we will let you do your closing remarks.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone that spoke, gave advice, that didn't give advice, wanted to give advice, but didn't have the words to come out right. I just want to say thanks to everyone. I want to say thanks to Brother Gardner for making sure that, you know, the younger NCOs are well equipped. I want to say thank you to Brother Smith for that real amazing introduction tonight. I want to say thank you to I want to say thank you to Mr. Rhodes. You know, he was quiet tonight, and I got kind of nervous. So
I was just giving you the floor, brother. But you're very welcome. I had a lot to say in my head.
I want to say thank you to the lovely women that gave me all the insight on how to deal with this female soldier going forward. I just want to say thank y'all, and I love each and every one of y'all. Brother Smith, it's back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Butch. Brother Gardner, your remarks, sir.
I really don't have any. Just want to let the group know that we are having a basketball tournament this Friday. Hopefully that turns out to be a good event. And Brother Harris, if you can tomorrow, please stop by the hall. If you're not working, I'll get with you offline.
I'll get with you offline, sir.
That'll work. 'Cause I got to check on something, and then let me check something out, and then I'll get with you.
Roger that.
Okay. We'll do it like that. But no, that's it. It was a good topic tonight. A lot of good information put out. And everyone that participated appreciate it. But, you know, anytime you bring up a subject and the military has something to do with the Army, I did half my adult life in there, so I can speak on it. But like I said, things have changed. And I wouldn't last a week there today. But anyway, we're at 21:59. Brother Hamp, go ahead and close us out.
Well, like everyone said before me, you know, we thank you all for joining in. Brother Harris, enjoyed it. Definitely a lot of information. And
that part.
For all of those that did join in on the line, we thank you for your time and your participation. And if there are no other comments, questions, or concerns, then at this time, we will now say and bid you a good night.
Good night,
thank you all.
Good night, guys.
Have a nice weekend.
Good night, ladies. Good night.
Good night.
Night, John boy.